Lifted up my heart to the one who holds the stars.
Okay, guys, welcome to my latest episode of Jurassic Devotions. We are now in Genesis chapter 7. And hold on, I gotta wait for this ambulance to go by. Now, God was the one instructing Noah just how to build the ark. And now, we're right to where he's instructing him what to do. The Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your wife and family, because I have found you righteous in this generation." Basically, Noah's family was the only family in the whole world that was right and serving God. And let's see, take with you 7 of every kind of clean animal and its mate. Basically, any animal that is considered clean by God, like, don't ask me the list. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. And also 2 of every kind of unclean animal, a male and female. Basically, all the other animals. Even, yes, my favorite animals, the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were also put in the ark, and people wonder, how on earth could you fit a dinosaur in there? Well, let me point this out. Not a full-size one. Some of the smallest ones are about the size of chickens, even the ones that are big old sauropods. They had little relatives that were the size of little dogs. They could fit in there no problem. And something as big as a T-Rex? Ever heard of that one called Guanlong? That was a member of the T-Rex family. It was only about as big as like a raptor or something. And also 7 of every kind of bird, male to female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. So every kind of bird was also put on the ark. Every flying animal was put on the ark, and that's a dead parasaur. Okay. Yep, dead. Okay. And then he said, "Put them all on the ark, and 7 days from now, I will have it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and will wipe man from the face of the earth, except for Noah and his family, because Noah and his family were in the ark." Now, see, people wondered, how on earth could you get a sauropod like this into the ark? Well, there were smaller ones back in those times, some as big as like a sheep or a dog or chicken size. There were sauropods almost as big as this little guy here, a Pachycephalosaurus. Now, and Noah did all that was commanded of him, and he was about 600 years old when the flood waters came from the earth. And they did not just come down in rain. There were some fountains of the deep that burst open from the earth that was like buried and stuff down there. And said Noah and his sons and his wife and his son's wife came into the ark to escape the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animal, of birds and all creatures that move along the ground. And male and female came and entered the ark of all the ones that are male and female, the animals came into the ark of every kind of animal. And after 7 days, the flood came to the earth. And now here's the part that's interesting. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were all opened. Like, basically, the fountains of the deep bursted open, and that caused the great flooding. Now, let me see if I can go back to where those waters were. Yeah, basically everything got flooded. Yeah, and on that day, and it started raining on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. And on that very day, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds. That's what he meant by clean creatures. Okay, all the farm animals. Sorry, I could not remember what that meant. And every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind. And pairs of every creature that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. And each animal was male and female of every living thing as God had commanded Noah. Then, as the people were looking on like, hey, who's going to shut that door of the ark? I mean, it's standing right open. Then they watched in fear and knowing what was going to happen as the door went shut. Not by Noah pulling it, but God himself was the one who shut the door of the ark. And for the 40 days, the flood was rising and rising, and they rose so much that the ark was lifted high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. Now, and let's see. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 20 feet. So that's how deep the mountains were in the water. Like, the floodwaters rose above the mountains about 20 feet above them. Yeesh. Every living thing that moved on the earth perished, birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swam over the earth, and all mankind. So, that explains fossils. You notice the way they look, like with their necks bent backwards, some of them? Yeah, they weren't dying of an asteroid impact. They were dying because they were trying to breathe. They were drowning. They were drowning in the water. It was suffocating them. They were suffocating, basically. And everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. And every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. Men and animals and the creatures that moved along the ground and the birds of the air were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left and those with him on the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Wow. Now see, a lot of people tend to think, oh, it was the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. No. It was the Noah's flood that wiped them all out. Not some asteroid like people think. I mean, look at how the fossils are positioned. I mean, they're like scattered all over the earth, and people think, oh, if there was a worldwide flood, there would be millions of dead things. What do you call the fossils? I mean, look how many are. Millions of dead things. That is evidence enough. And this has been my episode of Jurassic Devotions. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
The deepest depths, the darkest nights. Can't separate, can't keep me from your sight.